I shoved my mother away on Christmas Day. By the end of the night, nobody in my family blamed me. Every holiday with my mother felt less like a celebration and more like surviving an interrogation. For 3 decades, she had perfected the art of making everyone around her miserable, while somehow convincing herself she was the one being mistreated. Christmas was always her favorite stage. My siblings and I had stopped arguing with her years earlier because challenging her only guaranteed an even bigger scene. Lately, though, she'd found a new audience: the grandchildren. They still reacted. That was all she needed. My niece Sadie had just turned 6. She was quiet, gentle, and painfully shy. To my mother, that made her an easy target. The morning began exactly as expected. Mom opened each present with exaggerated disappointment. "Oh, another scented candle." She sighed dramatically at my sister. "I thought everyone knew. Fragrances give me headaches." My sister had spent weeks picking it out. My mother barely looked at it. Then she turned to my brother. "Your boys are getting awfully heavy. Maybe it's time to stop feeding them so many treats." When his wife tried steering the conversation elsewhere, Mom smiled. "I'm only telling the truth. Someone has to." A few minutes later, her attention shifted toward Sadie. She was sitting quietly on the floor, happily brushing the hair of a new doll. "Come here, sweetheart. Let Grandma see." Sadie walked over and held it up proudly. It was a beautiful doll with dark skin and curly hair. Mom tilted her head. "So that's the one you picked?" She forced a little laugh. "It's not exactly pretty. Didn't you want one that actually looks nice?" Sadie's smile disappeared, her eyes filled with tears. My sister immediately stood up, but Mom waved her off. "Oh, honestly, I'm teasing. If she cries over something this small, the real world is going to destroy her. You're raising her to be too sensitive." My sister quietly led Sadie into the kitchen. I hoped that would finally end it. Instead, Mom followed them. A moment later, I heard her voice again. "You know, your mother wasn't this soft when she was your age." I made sure of that. A few minutes later, my sister returned alone. Her eyes were red. She told Sadie to stay upstairs and play away from Grandma. For the next hour, Mom complained nonstop. "Children these days can't handle anything. Nobody understands jokes anymore. I don't recognize this family. I expected stronger people." My brother tried changing the subject to football. She immediately cut him off. "When I'm speaking, you listen." Later, when my sister-in-law walked away to check on the kids, Mom announced loudly, "She avoids me every chance she gets. Makes you wonder what she's hiding." Nobody answered. The room felt painfully tense. Everyone was simply waiting until it was socially acceptable to leave. Eventually, Mom excused herself to use the bathroom. Instead of using the downstairs one, she headed upstairs. At first, I didn't think much of it. Then several minutes passed. That's when I remembered Sadie was still upstairs by herself. I got up. My sister caught my wrist. "Where are you going?" "I just want to check on Sadie." As I reached the top of the staircase, I heard my mother's voice through the partially open guest room door. It wasn't loud, it was cold, cruel. "You don't ignore me. I don't care what your mother says. I'm your grandmother. You'll respect me. Do you understand?" Between her words, I heard Sadie quietly crying. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." Then I heard something scrape sharply across the floor. I ran. I pushed open the bedroom door. My mother had both hands clamped around Sadie's arms, shaking her hard enough that the little girl's whole body rocked with each movement. Without thinking, I rushed forward and pulled my mother away as hard as I could. She stumbled backward toward the hallway. "What do you think you're doing?" she screamed. Her foot caught the edge of the rug near the staircase. She lost her balance. Then she tumbled backward down the stairs, striking the railing and several steps before coming to rest at the bottom. The entire house went silent. No one spoke for several long moments. Eventually, someone called for help. When the paramedics arrived later, my brother simply explained that she had fallen after losing her footing near the top of the stairs.